dairy o low-fat milk products. Malaki ang maitutulong kung hindi maninigarilyo. Mag-exercise at least 30 minutes a day at magkaroon ng sapat na tulog. Ito ang dapat mong malaman.
Ito ang dapat mong malaman. Ayon sa PHIVOLCS, ang Pilipinas ay may 24 na aktibong bulkan at ito ang mga sumusunod. Mayon sa Albay, Taal sa Batangas, Canlaon sa Negros Oriental, Bulusan sa Sorsogon, Hibok-Hibok sa Camiguin, Pinatubo sa Zambales, Babuyan Claros sa Cagayan, Banahaw sa Quezon, Biliran sa Leyte, Budahos sa Sulu, Caballan sa Southern Leyte, Caguas sa Cagayan, Camiguin de Babuyanes sa Cagayan, Didicas sa Cagayan, Irayas sa Batanes, Iriga at Isarog sa Camarines Sur, Leonard Niesef sa Davao del Norte, Makaturing at Ragang sa Lanao del Sur, Matutom sa Cotabato, Musuan sa Bukidnon, Parker sa Mindanao at Smith sa Cagayan. Samantala, maituturing naman ang mga sumusunod na bulkan na pinakadelikado at ito ang mga sumusunod: Taal Volcano, Mayon Volcano, Mount Pinatubo, Mount Bulusan at Mount Canlaon.
Ayan, ako. Magandang tanghali po sa inyong lahat. Syempre pa, sumapit ang oras pagdating ng Sabado dyan sa Pilipinas. Oras na. Pagdating ng alas 12 ng tanghali, Radyo Agila sa Amerika. Tayo po napakikinggan sa buong Pilipinas sa pamamagitan ng ating Radyo Agila 1062 at syempre yung ating mga kasama na bumubuo mula dyan sa Luzon, sa Mindanao at saka po sa Bisaya. Ano po? At muli, meron na naman tayong kakaibang makakausap. Pero bago yan, ipakikilala ko muna. Ako po si Don Orozco. Medyo napapagod dahil sa dito alas 9 ng gabi. Ayan. Alas 9 po ng gabi. Pero nananatili po tayong live sa YouTube channel ng Radyo Agila, sa Facebook channel ng Radyo Agila. Ano po? At siyempre pa, yun sa iba't ibang mga radio stations na affiliate ng ating himpilan, patuloy pong kinikiri ang ating mga programa. At muli ay ang makakasama po natin ay sabi nga natin ay kakaiba. Magugutom po kayo. Nako, dahil sa oras pa naman ng pananghalian, itong ating magiging panauhin, ulam. Ano po? Ulam. Bakit? Ang specialty, lumpia. Diba? Lumpia. Siya po ang founder ng Lumpia Mania dito sa Amerika. Sabihin na natin Amerika, di ba? Bagamat siya po nakabase dyan sa Los Angeles. No po? Medyo pagpapasensyahan nyo lang ng konti dahil sa matagal-tagal na to sa Amerika, kaya medyo nahihirapang magtagalog. Di ba? Ganun pa man. Sabi ko, sa ganda nung kanya at sa sarap, sabi nga, sa sarap nung kanyang produkto, hindi natin pwedeng palagpasin. Hindi na natin patatagalin. Ano po? Ipakikilala ko ang ating pong panauhin ay si Ginoong Robert L. Calixto. Siya po ang nagmamay-ari ng Lumpia Mania. Yan, sa Los Angeles. Magandang gabi sa atin, Robert. And of course, it is lunchtime in the Philippines. Welcome to our show, Radyo Agila sa Amerika. Robert?
Thank you, Sir Don. Thank you. So, like you said, Robert Calixto, pero I was born Roberto. So just to let you know. At saka, I came here when I was 11, so mahirap magtagalog, hindi na sanay, pero I want to try my best na talaga magtagalog tonight. Lately, I've been hanging around iba-ibang klase mga Filipino leaders dito sa mga community leaders dito sa Los Angeles, kaya napupwersa akong magtagalog, which, I always think na mas maganda sa akin pag magaling ng magtagalog, di ba?
Alam mo, that's funny, ano? A lot of Filipinos actually here in the US are able to learn Tagalog because there are those that came from Bisaya, there are those that came from Mindanao. They have a hard time speaking Tagalog. Pero pagdating dito, dahil sa parang ang commonality natin ay Tagalog, napipilitan silang matuto ng Tagalog. Pero mind you, di ba Robert, we all know very well, even in Los Angeles, even here in Silicon Valley, if you apply for work, di ba, one of the choices is, are you able to speak Bisaya or Ilocano, di ba? Kaya nakaka-proud na makita as part of the choices. Tama ba, Robert?
Totoo. Nung lumaki ako rito, everybody thinks na Mexicano ako.
Okay.
Hindi nila isip na Pilipino, pero to be honest, yung pag may mga interview ako dito sa LA, mahirap nga sila magsabi na Tagalog eh. Sabi lang nila, mga Filipino, do you speak Filipino? I'm like, no, there's no Filipino. There's only Tagalog and a lot of different regional dialects. Hundreds of dialects, diba?
Hundreds of dialects.
Yeah. So,
as a matter of fact,
naalala ko na, bata pa ako, may mga pinsan, hindi pinsan, mga uncle ko, nag-Spanish sila. Marunong silang mag-Espanyol. So, very diverse, di ba, ang mga buhay natin. Very, very diverse. Sa Pilipinas, so many languages. Pero, taga Manila ako. So, Filipino, mga Tagalog lagi. Tapos may mga, iba mga taga Kapampangan, taga Visayas, taga, sa mga, sa Aklan, yung mga pinsan kaming taga, all over the place sa Manila. Pero, pagdating ko na rito, puro English na lang. Puro English na. So,
in other words, Robert, ikaw pala ay Manileño. You're not from any province.
Hindi. Wala kaming permanenteng province. Ang pinakamalapit kong I could admit na province namin was Bigaa, Bulacan. So,
okay.
Nung mid-70s, nung mga, before I came to America, yun ang naalala kong mabuting naalala ko yung summer sa Bigaa. May mga marami pang rice fields doon, hindi na, kasi nung bumalik ko na ng 2008, ibang-iba na yung lugar. It's like Manila na, di ba? Pero when in the middle 70s, talagang ang daming mga rice fields, and naalala ko ngayong maglakad ako sa Pilapil, those experiences. I mean, literally, we used to marami akong mga vivid memories ng mga bata. Yung you sleep in a nipa hut about 5 feet from the ground, and you wake up with mga manok sa underneath mo, ganon, di ba? Mahilig, tapos kakatayin yung lechon, those kind of experiences and I'm very fond of that because 3 months maybe 2 months out of the summer, walang eskwelahan, nasa experience kami sa Bigaa, sa Bulacan. Pero lumaki ka sa Manila towards the end of the 2 months nyo ron sa provinces, you're like bored ka kasi marami ka nang nagagawa, tapos gusto nang bumalik sa Manila, di ba, ganon. So naalala ko pa yun, syempre. Yeah,
Aha.
naalala ko pa.
Right, nako. Pero sabi nga natin ang ating ang marami pa rin Robert sa ating mga kababayan. Because I am sure how young are you when you left Manila?
I have a really strange immigration story. I was 10 years old, so we left July 29, 1977.
Okay.
Tapos a week later, August 8th, I turned 11 years old. So I remember my parents threw a party for me, and there was about maybe 25 kids. I didn't know any of them. I didn't know any of them except for my older brother, diba? So yeah, it was really strange. Really strange experience for me, as a kid, diba? But I mean, everything is always, totally like it wasn't like it's not like I just went to another country. Parang I went to another planet. Talagang ibang-iba talagang ang experience ko, di ba? So, always find myself in a place that I don't belong in for some reason, di ba ganon? A lot of them most of them are positive though. Most of them are positive, so yeah. So yeah, that's yung mga memories ko nung coming over here. Naalala ko yung the first night I remember na like I didn't know that the carpet existed, yung carpet. So this was 1977, and my parents ko, they had the carpet about 1.5 inches thick, and it's bright orange, right? So I remember like, what is this? We're all walking on it. Parang naglalakad kami sa pagkain or something, yung naalala ko. Pero and then I remember I wanted to be the one that cleaned it to vacuum the carpet, di ba? Sa Pilipinas, iba talaga ang buhay. So,
nga. Alam mo, while we're into that, pinakikita natin sa ating Facebook page, yung iba't ibang mga picture nung yung lumpia mania. Talagang nakakatuwa dahil sa pinipilahan no? Pero bago natin pag-usapan yung lumpia mania, doon muna tayo doon sa medyo naputol kong kwento mo tungkol sa immigration story, di ba? So, ikaw pala ay umalis ng Pilipinas. You were like between 10, 11 years old, di ba? So, kasi alam mo up to now, napakarami pa rin tayong mga kababayan, no? Marami pa rin tayong mga kababayan na talagang merong American dream. Ano ang feeling, Robert? What were you feeling when your parents told you, "Oh, you'll go to America"? What was the feeling back then?
To be honest, it's not fair for me to tell everybody na my story is similar to a lot of people. Kasi when you're only 9 years old, you're so innocent. I was still very innocent, Pero the story I'm going to tell you is when I heard about that, I knew that we were going to make it to America since about 1973 or 74. Okay, so my mom. So I'm gonna just tell you about my. Not to get away from your topic, but I was too young to really say na. I mean, I was excited, of course, pero yung feeling na yung whole neighborhood alam nila na aalis ka, you're sort of like hindi ka parte ng neighborhood the last 2-3 years nang nasa Pilipinas ako, di ba? So it feels like you're an outsider na kasi alam nila na, especially yung area na lumaki ako sa Binondo, sa San Nicolas area, it's like the most beautiful area that didn't get fixed like it should have been. Like I went back there a few times, and every time I go back, I get angry. I'm thinking this place should have been like vegan, di ba? Sa vegan, where it's completely ayos na ayos talaga, ganda-ganda ng mga bahay, di ba? I lived in a house like that, yung mga bodega style, third floor, Pero the feeling was, it wasn't very good because the last couple of years na naalis na kami, I felt like an outsider kasi yung mga neighborhood niyo, mga pinsan, makilala, alam nila na swerte kami, parang there was a lot of jealousy there, ganon. So, so the story of like, just to sort of tell you the hero in the whole thing, diba? There's always one hero of a family that makes it to get out of an area to migrate or whatever the thing is. It's my mom. She passed away in 2017. My dad passed away in 2014. Both in their mid 80s. But my mom, she was, believe it or not, my mom, she was actually the first graduating class of Jose Abad Santos in Manila. So she was, she went through college to got her pharmacist degree. She was a pharmacist major, and then after that, she got a job with the BIR, Bureau of Internal Revenue. So the story goes like this. In the early 70s, she kept getting passed. Hindi siya ma-promoted sa job, right? So she kept getting passed by men, diba? So one day one day when she thought she should have been promoted, she didn't, and she got mad, and she took a little walk outside the building, and she happened to walk across the American consulate, and she saw a poster on the wall on the door that says, "Sign up for a lottery for a visa to go to visit the United States."
Really?
So
okay.
Yes. So so lo and behold, she signs up and gets a phone call like 3 or 4 weeks later, and says that she won the lottery, but there was a catch. She needed like an amount of money to pay to be able to take the trip, and it was probably, as she says now, when later on, this was in the early 80s when she was telling us the story. She says it was probably like the equivalent of like $10,000, diba? So back then, this was like in the early 70s. Sikat na sikat yung mga sweepstakes. You remember those? So she bought sweepstakes, and guess what? She won almost the amount that she needed to pay. So this was providence or something. This is providence. So then she gets the money and she takes off. I think in 1972 is the first time she went to LA. The crazy story was she left in November, and she landed in New York, and she called back to my dad and said, "I can't stay in New York. It's freezing. I'm gonna freeze to death." So we had to send her money. My dad and my grandmother had to send her money, and she ended up going to Oxnard, near LA. Right?
Okay, yeah, Oxnard.
She spent Christmas there, and then she had to go back because she got really, really sick. Okay, for some reason she got really, really sick. She went back to the Philippines in 1973. At this time I'm like 7 years old, and guess what? She wasn't sick. She was pregnant. She was pregnant, and then so she delivered. They delivered my youngest brother, and then less than a year later she went back because I think she had to renew her visa or something like that. Diba? So once you start seeing the dream, I think my dad did not want to go, to be honest. My dad wasn't. He had a decent job at the we're close to the pier, diba? Yung mga sa pier doon sa Binondo, diba? Sa Manila, Metro Manila, and on the pier there. So he was a superintendent there. He had a good job. So what ended up happening, she went back in 1974, and then in 75, my dad came, and then in 76, my oldest sister came. So there's 6 kids, right? There's my 2 eldest sisters, my older brother, and then me, and then my 2 younger brothers. So 1976, my sister went. So then in 1977, my other older sister went, us 3. So there's only 2 younger kids left in the Philippines by 1977. In 1978, my 2 brothers came finally. So it took like 5 years for the whole family to make it to LA. So it wasn't very easy. I didn't see my mom for like 4 years. You know, I was so young and innocent that, you know, it probably, you know, we all have, you know, a lot of Filipinos, a lot of immigrants, I would say, we all have, you know, separation anxieties, that kind of thing. Diba? So, you know, but I think we all adapted fairly well. And I remember when we came to LA, now my parents love to cook. They love to cook. If you read the website, I put a few stories about how much my mom and cook. Yeah. Ang father ko supposedly, I don't know the whole story, how true it is, but supposedly his dad was a professional cook in the service in the Philippines or something. So there was a lot of cooking involved growing up. That's why a lot of the recipes that I have are from 1977. I actually have a leche flan, which I call 1977 flan.
Oh, really?
Yes, because I'm using the recipe that we have that I learned when I was 11, 12 years old in LA when we came here, because I would help my parents make these things. What made me different from a lot of kids is I paid attention. So I really, I remember the recipe since I was about 11, 12 years old. And I remember exactly how, madali lang naman ng leche flan, di ba? But in my research in the last few years on making the perfect flan, is that now I know why Filipinos, we have diabetes. Because our leche flan is so much, it's twice the yolk as everybody else. You know that?
Tama ka. Diba?
Twice the yolk, you know?
Napakahilig. Kaya naman ang mga Pilipino, pati mga magagaling na lover boy. Diba? Kasi nga, very sweet ang mga kinakain.
I knew you were going there. I knew you were going there. So, yeah. So, you know, the truth is, you know, I was telling the story on the website. It's lumpiamania.com stories, right? I started Lumpia Mania, the idea, back in 2015, to be honest. 2015, 7 years ago. But I didn't do anything then because I felt like my kids were still growing up, and for some reason this year really crystallized everything. After the pandemic, a lot of restaurants closed down. My kids finally finished high school, and they're, you know, 2 of my kids are in college now. So, you know, they're out there and you know, trying to become adults, diba? So it was a perfect time to really put Lumpia Mania out there. And then I start to feel that if I don't do this now, I'm never going to do it, because there's a lot of Filipino growth in there's a lot of advances these days in the last few years. We're really starting to be more active as part of America, I feel like. You know,
alam mo,
you know,
malaking bagay talaga, Robert, itong social media, no? Itong transformation, di ba? Plus, tanggapin natin, nakatulong. Sino? Andyan si Efren Bata Reyes. Di ba? Andyan si Paeng Nepomuceno. Di ba?
Yeah.
Andyan si Manny Pacquiao.
Manny Pacquiao. Yeah, I mean,
Manny Pacquiao.
yeah, so many.
Ang putok na putok si Jokoy.
Yeah,
diba?
Jokoy. I know.
So,
I met Jokoy and I love Jokoy. You
don't
know?
forget to mention, si Apple Diap plus Arnel Pineda. Kaya nakakatuwa pag nakita dito pumunta ka sa mga contest, pagka alam na nila pag Filipino ang entry, you're going to sing kasi kakanta, 'di ba? So kasi alam nila na ang Filipino napakagagaling kumanta, 'di ba? Kaya
I have a story for you to share about that. I have a
Okay,
story
sige,
for you.
sige. Oo. Pero alam
Okay.
nyo, ipapaalala ko lang, bago mo
Oh yeah.
i-kwento yan na Robert, ha?
Yeah,
Alam
yeah,
po ninyo,
I could go on. You're on that list, by the way, Don. You're on that list.
ganun ba?
You're
Alam
on
po
that
ninyo,
list.
itong si Robert, ang second half nung ating programa, pag-uusapan natin itong Lumpia Mania. Dahil sa gusto niyang i-share at gusto niya rin na kumalat ito na maging business ng maraming Pilipino. Dahil sa mamaya mapapakinggan, I think it will be the first time that a lot of you will be hearing this. The Lumpia Burger. Di ba? Pag-uusapan namin yan. Pero
Yes.
doon muna tayo sa kwento mo, Robert. Sige.
So, in 1984, my brother in high school, nag-visit kami sa Pilipinas, di ba? So, remember, I was only 11 and I was 1977. So, 1984 was only 7 years later. I was 18 years old.
Okay.
Nagbakasyon kami sa Pilipinas, sa Manila for 5 weeks that summer. And my brother was telling me na, man, I'm buying this expensive system. It's a karaoke machine, right? 1984. Okay. So, he buys it and then he even brings one to LA. Whoa. And we're singing, True and all these Lionel Richie songs, Hello, So then the next time I go back to the Philippines, unfortunately, I went back 2008.
Okay.
So
several years, huh?
I didn't go back to the Philippines between 1984 and 2008, which is terrible for me. I didn't go back. But then I went back again in 2010. Okay.
Okay.
So when I went back in 2008, I'm thinking, my goodness, everybody has a karaoke machine in their house, diba? And if they didn't have one, they would borrow next door. And every night we were singing, my go-to song was Jealous Guy from John Lennon. That's my go, because he gets to whistle on the song, he whistles on the song. So anyway, I remember telling somebody at the time, I said, my goodness, if we don't become the greatest singers on the planet, this is 2008. Something is wrong with us. And look how much more amazing. Gigi Delana just played Glendale a week ago. I missed it. I had something else to do. Amazing talent, diba? And we always have great singers. I remember growing up on this is going back, Aawitang Kita. Remember Aawitang Kita?
Yes. Who would forget that? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, ang daming mga great singers sa Pilipinas, pero ngayon, not just in singing and in entertainment. I think when I've gone to and try to get involved with the community, with the Filipino community now, people are so much more higher integrity. I feel like I'm really glad that I there's a lot more higher integrity. The 70s and the 80s, medyo maraming mga corrupt and really not good intention leaders of our community. But now I see a lot of and I'm already 56. Medyo matanda na ako, pero I meet these 35, 40-year-old guys who are very, 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 very smart. Mga
ganyan ka-importante yung ikaw ay you keep in touch. Be with the community, especially itong Filipino-American community, dahil sa talagang we can connect sa kanila eh. Alam nila kung ano yung ating mga pagkilos and so on and so forth. But anyway, marami nang nagsasabi na sabi ano yun na natin yung binabanggit na Lumpia Mania. Di ba? Oh, yan. Kami po ay pag-uusapan natin itong Lumpia Burger, Lumpia Mania, at of course, yung kanya mga involvement sa mga Filipino community. Pero bago tayo mag-break, batiin muna natin itong si Miss Beth San Jose Nazario. Ayan, nako, napakagaling na mag-asikaso yan pagka ikaw magpapaparty. Kukontakin mo yan, yung mga kabataang barangay, yan. Si Beth San Jose Nazario. Of course, hello din kay Ronald de Mesa at kasama ko lang kanina itong si Miss Ana Rita Reyes, di ba? So, babalik po ang Radyo Agila sa Amerika. Sandali po lamang.
ABC Eagle Broadcasting Corporation. Ito ang Radyo Agila. Para ligtas ang pagbibiyahe sa daan, tiyaking nasa kondisyon ang inyong sasakyan. Dapat may sapat itong tubig, gasolina at langis. Maayos ang brake at tama ang hangin sa mga gulong. Tiyaking kumpleto ang toolbox. Isang paalaala para sa maayos na paglalakbay mula sa Radyo Agila. Narito ang paalaalang pangkalusugan sa panahon ng tag-ulan. Ukol sa pagkain, tiyakin na ito ay naluto ng husto. Kainin kaagad ang nilutong pagkain. Sa mga naghahanda ng pagkain, ugaliin ang paghugas ng kamay bago at pagkatapos maghanda ng pagkain. Kung may sakit, iwasan ang maghanda ng pagkain para sa iba. Samantala sa inuming tubig naman, iwasang uminom ng tubig kung hindi tiyak ang pinagkukunan nito. Kung hindi ligtas ang inuming tubig, pakuluan at hayaang kumulo ng 2 minuto. Maging matalino. Pinsala ay maiiwasan mo. Isang paalaalang hatid ng Radyo Agila.
Handa ka na ba sa parating na bagyo, baka lindol at iba pang uri ng sakuna? Huwag magpahuli. Alamin ang mangyayari. Maging alisto, maging alerto. Eagle Nightwatch. Subaybayan tuwing alas 10 hanggang alas 12 gabi-gabi. Kasama ang buong pwersa ng Radyo Agila Reporter, ang tunay na serbisyo publiko. Walang pahinga, walang pagod. Magbabantay, maglilingkod. Eagle Nightwatch.
Ayan, nagbabalik po ang programang Radyo Agila sa Amerika. Ako pa rin po ang inyong kapiling, si Don Orozco. Mula pa rin ako dito sa Silicon Valley, California. At dito po sa amin ay 9:34 na ng gabi. Di ba? At dyan sa Pilipinas ay 12:34 ng tanghali. Kapiling natin si Mr. Robert Calixto. Pero yan yung short name. Ang long name niya, Roberto. Lagyan mo ng O. Amerika na. Robert na lang. Di ba? Si Robert Calixto, founder po ng Lumpia Mania. Okay. So, pag-usapan na natin to, Robert, Siyempre pa, nakatutuwa yung ipinadala mong picture. Pumipila talaga ang tao, di ba? At ang nakakatuwa lalo, hindi lang Filipino ang nakapila. Di ba? So, pati ang mga non-Filipinos ay pumipila. Pero bago natin pag-usapan yung pilahan na yan, Robert, how did you come up with the Lumpia Mania? And again, you were talking off camera, the Lumpia Burger. Robert?
Yeah, so accidente, to be honest. Okay, so back in about I'm gonna say mga 2012, I gumagawa ko ng lumpia for my kids, di ba? I like to ang mga anak ko gusto nilang Filipino food talaga. I make them sinigang all the time. Sinigang is my favorite. Sinigang is their favorite. And I make upo, I make munggo, I make adobo, sometimes pancit. Pero we always go to Max's restaurant, and I also make my own lumpia, right? Back in the mga 2012, I had extra meat. Of course, you always run out of wrappers, or sometimes may aksidente ka, you dry out the wrappers, di ba?
Mhm.
So I made the meat into a hamburger patty, di ba?
Okay.
And I had white bread. I just toasted it, and I made my little hamburger for my kids, and they loved it. And from then on, they've been telling me, Dad, lumpia burger. Can you make us some lumpia burger? Okay. So a few years later, the whole lumpia burger evolved. Okay, evolved. A few years later, I had pandesal, and I used pandesal for the bread instead of toast.
Okay. Yung
And they
tasty, kung
loved
tawagin
it.
natin.
Huh?
Dati, di ba, kung tawagin natin yung flatbread na yun, tasty.
Well, ang ginamit ko, ang mga anak ko, they really love na ginamit ko yung pandesal.
Okay?
Because I joke with them. I said, look, the best breakfast, this is a stupid thing, but I would say our bread and butter, diba, is pandesal and butter. There's nothing, there's no other bread that tastes better with butter than pandesal, I think, diba? And then sausaw mo sa kape, diba? I mean, I'm never gonna be not Filipino. Yan ang the best of the Philippines to me, diba? In the most simplest term. Remember, lumaki ako nung may Nutriban tayo sa eskwela.
Okay.
When I was sa Pedro Guevara sa Manila, as a first and second grader, may Nutriban tayo. Malaki yung mga Nutriban. It tastes like pandesal a little bit, di ba?
Mm-hmm.
So, when I started Lumpia Mania, I put the logo together in 2015. And like I said, I didn't do anything for years. And I thought to myself at the time, it's not going to be adobo that's going to make it to the mainstream level. It's not going to be pancit. It's going to be lumpia. I remember thinking this back in 2015. And 7 years later, now it's still lumpia because everybody knows lumpia. But here's the thing though. Here's what makes us different from everybody else, I think. Not only do we have a lumpia burger with pandesal, so let me just finish the thing about lumpia burger. So it's pandesal with butter, right?
Okay.
And the meat is not pork. It's my own recipe with onions, garlic, and a couple of other vegetables that I'm not going to tell you. Okay? So it's made out of beef, so you don't have to overcook it, diba? That's the idea.
Uh-huh.
And Muslims and Jews can eat it. Diba?
Uh-huh.
Because if it's pork, so my goal for Lumpia Mania, my goal for Lumpia Mania is to sell it to everybody, make sure everybody's gonna love it, not just Filipinos.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So
Good idea.
Yeah, I think so because okay, so I joke about this, but only half joking, right? Somebody started a restaurant in California, so I don't know where, pero they started a restaurant and they only serve bagels with meat and in like a sandwich bagel, right?
Okay.
Right? Okay. Have you had a bagel with meat in it or other things like a sandwich? Have you had that?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Okay. But it's popular. There's restaurants there like that, right? Do you know the guy's name who invented that?
Who is the guy who invented it?
I don't know.
Okay.
Nobody knows. Because I'm going to tell you something. When Lumpia Burger becomes popular, I want credit. I invented Lumpia Burger.
Of course. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Okay? It's half joking, but I'm not really joking either. Because at the end of the day, sometimes with food, you come up with things accidentally and it becomes a big hit.
Yes.
Ang Lumpia Burger is our number one item. We're about to open our first restaurant. Huh?
Alam mo, Robert, dapat i-patent mo yata yan. Dahil
It is.
Again, it's something different. Actually, I even read parang no minsan meron pang lumpia superhero di ba? Superhero na lumpia, pero yun sa iyo kakaiba naman. Lumpia burger, di ba? And again, ang plano mo ay i-magnify
Yeah,
business.
we have plans
Ang
to.
tanong ko, Robert, naumpisahan mo na ba yung plano mong business? Kasi itong pinakapila na ito na pinakikita natin sa mga picture, ito ba business na o pa-taste lang ito? Ano ba to?
Okay, these are pop-ups. Okay, we started a few months ago,
Okay.
so we're not talking from an already established business. This is still we're still at the startup stage, but we're in the process of finalizing a lease agreement on our first location, right? So people are just at the entry point of our business, and if you want to invest, let us know, because we will, especially mga Filipino, I'd rather get as many Filipinos involved. So when we get to a place where we have 100 locations or more, then a lot of Filipinos will be invested in the company. Here's another thing too that makes us different. Not only we have the lumpia burger, which is everybody's favorite so far, but our lumpias are not. Our lumpia is again 1977 lumpia. I have friends who have tasted lumpia, and I give them the 8-inch lumpia that has a lot of carne, a lot of meat, and they're like, I never had lumpia like this. And I'm like, why not? That's how I grew up with that lumpia, malalaki, maraming karne. Ang problema is, over the years, we just keep skimping on the meat. Diba? When somebody, my parents, I have to give them, kudos to them, because they would serve a lot of shrimp on top of the palabok. They would full of shrimp on top. They didn't skim on anything, diba? So when I had a restaurant before with my sister back in 2005, we owned a restaurant, and long story short, we started making the lumpia the big size like this with a lot of meat, diba?
Parang
After,
burger patty, yung forma, not yet.
no.
Lumpia
It looks
na
like
wrapper.
it looks like a Shanghai. We call it dynamite lumpia, because it's not that. Okay, there's a dynamite lumpia that has peppers in it, diba? May mga maanghang.
Yes.
Pero ours is called dynamite because it's the size of a dynamite.
Okay.
Okay. And ours has a lot of meat. My goal is to not skimp on the good stuff. I really want people to, that's American style, is to not skimp on the food, diba? So our dynamite lumpias is very popular, is very big. So when we open our first one, which maybe in about a month and a half we'll open it, then we'll definitely grow from one location to 20 to 100. That's the goal.
Okay. Alam mo,
Yeah.
sabi mo, Robert, ay naghahanap ka ng mga parang eventually, 'di ba? Mga investors, no? Para diyan
Partners.
sa paano mong malaki, 'di ba? As a matter of fact, ay pwede nga parang isang startup 'yan, ano? Dito napakarami niyang nag-support ng startup, 'di ba? Ang pinakamaganda niyan siguro, Robert, padalhan mo ako ng sample. Teka,
You tell me.
Frozen ba yan?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Oo. Pagka padalan mo ako ng sample, and I'll just, anong tawag dito? Paano yung
Promise
bayad
sa'yo.
mo?
Promise
Sir.
sa'yo. Promise. You
Diba?
won't be disappointed. You won't be disappointed.
Diba? Kasi iba yung natitikman, di ba? I was actually just talking to a friend of mine, and I was telling about your lumpia burger, because they are fond of cooking and they have a very big kitchen, but they are not doing any business. Sabi ko, sa'yo bagay, because masarap kang magluto . 'di ba? So 'yan ang mga bagay, 'di ba? So I
Ang
think send me a sampler, but of course I'll pay you via Zelle, 'di ba? So
no need, sir. No need. No need.
yan ang gawin natin kasi again it's really interesting and tama ka eh. Ako naniniwala ako na baka nga naman kasi yung adobo is something that is also popular for Mexicans. 'Di ba? Yung term na adobo. Pagkatapos yung pansit,
Americans don't like vinegar. Americans don't like vinegar. We like
Talagang mas kilala tayo sa lumpia.
Americans like lazy food, like pizza, madaling-madali. Hamburger, hot dog, madaling-madali. You know, they like simple food. You know, tacos. Lumpia is easy. I mean, it's just a finger food, di ba? So we also have lumpiang hubad, which is like a lettuce wrap that we have.
Alam mo, napakarami nating klaseng lumpia eh. If you go, alam mo sa Philippines, if you travel sa Philippines, iba-iba ang presentation ng lumpia.
Oh yeah, of course. Pero I mean, turon is a lumpia, right? Turon is nothing but a banana lumpia, di ba? Turon.
Yes.
So we have
turon is banana. Lumpia talagang iba ang ano niya. Lumpia is
pero
ngayon lang ako nakarinig ng lumpia, Robert, di ba? Na beef ang gamit, which is a brilliant idea, di ba?
You don't have to overcook it. You don't have to overcook it.
Yeah,
di ba?
Lahat pwede, di ba? Hindi, wala
I think it's mas masarap pa, mas masarap.
Sa market, kumbaga.
So, ito yung mga kaibigan yung nasa business sa restaurant.
Nasaan ka na pagdating dun sa plano mong unang branch?
Nasa ano?
Nasaan ka ng phase dun sa plano mo na unang branch? Sabi mo kasi meron kang uupahan eh.
Yeah, we have the lease. We have the lease agreement. We have the lease agreement. We're just waiting for the to fix the location and to put up our sign and then to get the health permit. Tapos ready na kami. I had a restaurant before, so you know we're gonna do this. Yung mga the thing, ang mga problema, that's why Filipino food is not everywhere. Because we serve so many dishes. Every restaurant has 100 dishes. Diba? So I just want to stick with 2 or 3. That's it. Lumpia burger, lumpias. We have a sinigang soup, and then we have like a breakfast tocino lang. Ganon. 4 things. 4 or 5 things. And then that's it. You know?
Alam mo, at saka, you have all the advantage as a matter of fact, Robert, diba? Dito, sa may Silicon Valley, meron namang ditong Filipino restaurant, Sisig.
Oh, yeah.
Diba? Sisig ang kanyang, alam mo, nandun siya sa lugar kung saan marami ang puti. Malayo sa mga Pilipino. Sabi niya kasi, alam mo kasi, itong ating, sa totoo lang, type ng puti. Kaya lang, hindi natin naipakikita sa puti. Kaya, and he's really doing well.
I have the same, we have the same business plan. We don't want to compete with other Filipino food because we don't want to be, so I'm going to give you a simple number, okay? There's 350 million, or 330 million people in America, okay? 1% of that, about 4 million, is Asians. Do you want to know what percentage of that are Filipinos? It's 10% of that 1%.
Okay.
So if you're going to sell your business to Filipinos only, you're not going to make it. Diba?
Simple math.
It's a simple math. So my point is, when I first started Lumpia, I said, I don't want to compete with Filipino. I can't compete with good kare-kare. I can't compete with good sisig or lechon or lech. I can't compete with that. I wanted to. Have you heard of Raising Cane's? Raising Cane's.
No, not yet. Is that a restaurant?
Yes, it's chicken strips, chicken fingers. Yes, and then they have fantastic sauce, and that's all they sell, and some bread and some fries. Simplification is what we need for us to get to that level. So I think we're going to be the ones who are going to take it to that level because we want to simplify Filipino food. Then when we get to that level, then we can introduce them to the more complicated things, di ba?
Tama. Mhm. Mhm.
Diba?
Saka talagang maganda nga yung kumbaga parang slowly but surely, di ba? Mas konti yung
Yes.
inventory, mas maganda di ba? Pero the name itself will actually, I think it's going to be a hit. Because lumpia, people knows lumpia, di ba? The puti knows lumpia. Even yung anong tawag dito, yung Simpsons. Sa isang scene, narinig ko dun sa sinasabi ni Simpson let's order lumpia. Di ba? So,
Yeah.
sa puti,
Yeah.
alam na nila Alam na di ba? Kaya, kung gagawin mo, naku, pagka talagang palagay ko, maganda at simple, di ba? Na negosyo.
Yes. Less is more. Less is more.
One other thing, Robert, may lumpia na sa Costco.
I know.
Oo,
I know.
nakikita ko na yung lumpia sa Costco.
Sa Walmart too. Walmart has lumpia. I know. But there's no lumpia. But there's no restaurant chain.
Mga kababayan pong Pilipino nakikinig sa Radyo Agila or nanonood sa Facebook o sa YouTube Live, makikita nyo yung mga kilalang grocery po yan dito sa Amerika. No? Walmart, Costco. Makikita mo may lumpia, may hawak na dried mango, di ba? Puro yung made in the Philippines. Nakaka-proud Kaya
do you remember?
Isahan mo yung parang sinasabi mo, Robert, na yan parang fast food na lumpia, I think it will catch fire.
Do you know? Do you remember? What's his name? Bourdain. What's his name? No Reservations.
Yung
Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah, Anthony Bourdain. Yeah.
Do you remember Andrew Zimmern, the guy who did Bizarre Foods?
Yeah.
This is about 2010, 2011, and they both said, or 2012, something like that. They both said, "Nah, the next big thing in America is Filipino food." Right?
Yeah.
At that time, I sat there and I thought, it can't be because we don't understand what Americans want. Because you go to a Filipino restaurant and there's 100 different dishes. You have to find one dish that everybody loves, like tacos, diba? Tacos, right? I have a story about Americanizing food. Okay, do you remember sushi? Sushi. Okay.
Yeah, sushi.
In 1985, I went to eat sushi with a friend of mine for the first time, and on the menu it was 95% sashimi, which is raw fish, right? And in the corner there was this new item called California rolls, right? And you order that, and you're like, okay, it's not really the shrimp inside. If you look at the Japanese restaurant now, where there's a lot of them, all they did was they turned the whole thing around. They made the menu 95% California rolls, but different versions, and the sashimi is now in the corner of 5. You understand? So that's why Japanese food became, the word is ubiquitous, very, very popular everywhere, diba?
Well,
anyway. So we have to make lumpia the #1 Filipino dish, and I'm not the only one doing it. There's a lot of other, I know in your area there's a company called Lumpia Factory. Great company. I've read about them. I know some of them. Amazing company, and they're bringing it there. But I wish these guys would do what I'm trying to do, put every 30 miles put lumpia, because there's a demand for it.
Okay, yeah, I completely agree. Pero Robert, alam mo, sabi mo, hindi ko alam kung ano sasabihin ko doon. I really do not know what to say. But you see, we're almost done for 1 hour.
I know, I could talk another hour.
Yeah. Anyway, before we say goodbye, maybe you want to greet anyone, any of your friends, because this can be downloaded. This is something that they can watch, diba?
Yes.
For a very long time, as soon as you provide the link. So you want to greet anyone, Robert?
Yes, I want to say hello to the partners. Francis Jimenez, my youngest brother, was also bought into the business. He loved the burger so much. Hey, Robert, I'm going to quit my job and join Lumpia Mania. My brother, Erwin Calixto. And we have another partner who's kind of overseeing the bigger picture for the business. He's got a master's degree. I went to high school with this guy, Carlos Moran. Martha, huh?
Filipino yan, si Carlos Moran.
No, Francis and Frank and Erwin are Filipino, but my friend is not Filipino. He's Hispanic,
Okay.
Pero a lot of other my girlfriend Martha has been monumental in helping us with getting everything set up as well. And then there's a couple of supporters that we've had. There's a Facebook group of SoCal Filipinos. The leaders of that group is amazing. There's people who I've met the last few months. A lot of them are on the list of the top 75 most influential Filipinos, which you're on it, Don. Congratulations for that.
Thank you.
So there's a lot of people. There's Janet Lee, who's been there from day one. She's been supporting us. Stephanie Corrales has been another friend from high school. Just a lot of different people. And if I forget to mention a name, I'm so sorry. But there's a lot of people to name. But the most important part is, to me, it's just, we have to make sure that, we stay on the positive end and just support each other. I think I was never really involved in the Filipino community before until the last few months, to be honest, Don.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah. And because, everybody looks at me and they think I'm Mexican. They look at me and they think I'm Mexican or something.
Yes.
So I have to tell them no, and I smile. I have.
Marami sa mga kababayan nating mga Filipino are Marites.
I know. And before I go though,
right?
yes. Before I go, I want to mention my kids, Adam Calixto and Teresa Calixto. They've been there from day one. They've been my guinea pigs, tasting all the food that I've been making for the last, since their whole life. So I want to thank them for being, the guinea pigs that I've had. My son was telling, and I hate to admit this because I hate to admit that they're right, diba? My son and my daughter, they keep telling me, "Hey, Dad, it's gonna be the lumpia burger," and I'm like, "No, it's gonna be the dynamite." No, but they're right. It's the lumpia burger.
Pero seriously, Robert, I'll send you my address so that you can give me some samples, and of course, sabi ko nga, bill me, and I wanted to pay you for that.
No charge for you, sir. No charge for you.
Anyway, Robert, thank you so much for the time. Thank you for introducing.
Thank you so much.
Itong Lumpia Mania, and hopefully, I wish you good luck, and hopefully, the program helps so that you can find the people to actually invest sa iyong brilliant idea. Maraming salamat, and till we hear or see each other again, okay?
I would love to do this again. Thank you.
Okay.
My pleasure. Thank you so much,
Don.
Don.
Naka-boundary na naman tayo. Kasama po natin si Mr. Robert Calixto, ang Lumpia Mania founder, at ang antabayanan po ninyo yung pagputok nitong lumpia burger. Nako, napakasarap na lumpia burger. Kaya hindi ko pa pala masabing masarap. Sasabihin ko sa susunod pagka napadala na ako ng sample nitong ating
For sure.
kaibigan, si Robert Calixto. At muli, maraming salamat sa inyong pagsama dito sa ating programang Radyo Agila sa Amerika. Maraming salamat kay Gracious Pascual, yung ating tech guy. At mula po rito sa Silicon Valley sa California, ako po si Don Orozco, Radyo Agila sa Amerika. Salamat po ng marami.